So Brahms and Rachmaninoff, they were considered conservative. Now this is a very interesting thing for us, because either Brahms or Rachmaninoff truly imitated the music of the past. This is a very important lesson. As you might notice, I got silenced by what happened in the United States, not for personal reasons, but because it really caused me to stop and think like, man, come on, what else? And it really silenced me. And now I'm coming back. I came back with a video yesterday, but the wind was not interesting and destroyed the video because the mobile phone was not in the right direction. I wanted to not portray myself. So one of the reasons why I have to do in self mode is because of the microphone. So then now I'm back to speak about this, because although art, music, they are art and music, they are related to moral, politics, and philosophy and religion, but in a very special way, and it's very hard to grasp the relationship. It is way more nuanced. And my prediction is that at least in the United States, things will get polarized, also in art and music. So what is the conservative music today? Actually, it is also a superficial comfort zone, in my opinion. So this is also a consequence of true polarization. Something that I learned in life is that when you start to fight too much, you start to be somehow equal to this thing that you fight. And it's a kind of tragic, because sometimes you have to fight, but you probably get in the same level, okay? And with art, this is similar. If you are like fighting a tonality with tonality, and this is your whole point, like fighting MIDI music with written music, and if your thing is the opposite, if the trigger of your action is the opposite, this is not it is not enough energy to move you forward. So the trigger to your artistic creation should, and the only efficient trigger is outside of these worldly polarizations. But it's also not unrelated to this. This is what we have to catch. So what we do as what I see, I will not say I didn't do any scientific study, but what I perceived that could be labeled as the more conservative music today is actually, it is we can resume like bad copies of what has been done already, okay? And I say bad copies because actually our technique, even I think yes, with some exceptions, but as a whole, the people who try to compose like Beethoven or Mozart, they also don't have so the most interesting technique. And those who are, they compose like too nerdy music. They compose all possible variations of fugues, and they can't get away from the textbook. So everything that they compose sounds like a textbook. Example, they are good to be teachers to some extent. to some extent, because actually a true teacher of composition should be creative. Because the point is to relate things to creativity, not only to teach grammar. You can go crazy with grammar in music theory. So you need a lot of money if you want to learn all the grammar. So you have to stop at some point. I have video about this, when music theory is enough. So Rachmaninoff and Brahms, they are considered conservative. So Wagner, progressist, Liszt, progressist. Liszt, a fascinating composer. Brahms, also very good composer, but actually considered conservative. But what is conservative in the music of Brahms? So he uses the old forms, a lot of counterpoint, etc. But actually, his music is still a late romantic, no? Perhaps we perceive this now. It can be. But actually, even for the audience of his day, he was still a composer of his time. When you hear Brahms, it doesn't sound like Mozart. It doesn't sound like Beethoven. It's not like a second range Mozart, as it is the case of some pieces of Beethoven and Schubert, the ones where they try to emulate Mozart, but without the inspiration and the enthusiasms of Mozart, because this is what also people don't grasp. So Mozart was a personality of enthusiasm. He was not an annoying guy. I have also a video about this. So actually the music of Brahms still sounds of his time. Not so like Wagner and Liszt, but it is Brahms music. It has still the Brahms signature, the concertos, the violin concertos, and the symphony. So his best output, it has a Brahms signature. What is the Brahms signature? Is that you need 10 years to find a good melody. Yeah, it's unfortunately true. This is the problem of Brahms, but anyways, he actually manages to do some great music. So this is what I care for. And some things I don't find so good, like for organ or some chamber things, not my thing. So anyways, so in Rachmaninoff, Rachmaninoff also so conservative, but actually not. So he was a conservative of his day. You get the point? And I think this is what people fail to grasp. We have at one point the museum type of composer. So like you want to compose a motet and you follow nothing else than the rules of Zarlino. Nothing else. But in other hand, you have the radical progressist that is going nowhere. He's also not going somewhere. So we don't have any interesting musical innovation also in academia, also in the most progressive, avant-gardist, neo-Marxist aesthetics. And if there is something, no one is caring about. So probably because it will be very demanding. When they do good things, it's still very demanding. It's just for few listeners. It is demanding. So Jagd formed by Wolfgang Ring is one of the greatest things I could quote. That was done by the most avant-garde scene, and it is very demanding to hear. So you need full attention. And by the way, the Wolfgang Grimm, he was a Nietzschean, so also more nuanced position. So Rachmaninoff was very contemporary while still being conservative. So when you hear the second symphony of Rachmaninoff, you are not hearing Brahms, you are not hearing Beethoven, you are not hearing Hugo Wolf. This was done when, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit before the Le Sacre du Printemps, so the Rite of Spring. So this was done, it was composed in 1908 or even later, so I have to check. But this is the 20th century. So on 1908 it was Salome by Richard Strauss. I think it was Salome. So, but anyways, Rachmaninoff was actually not a progressist, but still it is his music, it's his signature. So his conservatism is not pure imitation of the past. I could also go further and annoy more the people who have the expectation of the people who have the wrong expectation about conservatism in music. So Janacek. So when Roger Scruton wrote the Understanding Music, he mentions Janacek as an alternative to Schoenberg. A very bad take, in my opinion, because Janacek composed something more dissonant and ugly than Schoenberg, and the language is even harder to translate, and his music is very vocal. So how can you expect that this is going to be popular? And this is the Roger Scruton, one of the most conservative men. So Roger Scruton saying this. I mean, a guy who probably needs a suite in order to go buy groceries, okay? So so think about it. So 3 examples. What does it mean actually to compose music and try to put this in the category of the aesthetic conservatism? Okay, so think about this. Now another problem is when you link conservatism, aesthetic conservatism, with right-wing politics. It's a huge leap, a huge link, and people are not aware of how much philosophical preparation, not only in the sense of studies but in the sense of discursive articulation, to get there and make people understand how things are related, because it's not simple. What I see on YouTube is, okay, I am right wing, I am Christian, Thomas von Aquinas, now playbook is ready and all the thoughts about music are also ready. So the rite of spring is problem. Then they start to talk such an amount of nonsense that I will have to do another video just for it. Even saying that the problem starts with Beethoven, so they want to say where the problem starts, where is the composer to blame. Ozzy Osbourne. Here you understand that our greatest evil is stupidity. So you have to watch for it every day. It might come from all the sides. And in the United States, it's very likely that you are stupid because things are very polarized. And in some sense, in some things they have to be polarized. But in other things, they need the nuance. This means you need a lot of intelligence today. Or you need to be very dumb and forget everything, as Erasmus of Rotterdam said. Perhaps if you forget everything and you get crazy and you are dumb, you will suffer less. So we keep talking. So think about Brahms, Rachmaninoff, Janacek, and the problem of the aesthetic and the politic category, how they are related. Understand that they are related in a way more complex way, and people do a lot of mistakes about this. This has also an influence on how they understand what it means to compose music in a conservative framework. And the examples of Brahms and Rachmaninoff and Janacek, they challenge a little bit some of the misconceptions that are being the effect of these stupid discussions that people are having, because they start discussions without understanding the philosophical basis needed for this. They think that everything is about following a playbook. The leftists think like this. It is just, you just follow the playbook. Okay, I have to believe this, check. But also the people of the conservative side and right-wing side, they tend to create a playbook, an agenda, and they start to catch some composers. So I have to then to do this, believe this, and this is not the way the thing goes. So we are in a two-dimensional society. It's very dangerous, and what I want you to think about is a three-dimensional or four-dimensional society, not only two directions, but perhaps 1 degree more here, 1 degree more here, and the depth, or to go above, or to hide behind. Who speaks about skepticism, for example? This is not even an issue. So do you know that many philosophers, they did a living saying they will not do any statement, they will just analyze. So think about it. We keep talking. This is the video that I do as a substitution for my video of yesterday. More important, but the video got destroyed by the wind, and I perhaps I post this with the bad audio. So what can I do? Otherwise I will have so much work now transcribing the whole text. So then I did this more informal video here, because I wanted to keep the channel going after this long break of silence, because the violence in the United States really affected me. Because I am So I think for any people who studied philosophy seriously, any violent attack on free speech, a violent attack on someone exercising the virtues of Socrates, it really hurts the heart, and it attacked me personally, because I would be this type of guy, not saying what he say exactly, so all this playbook style that the right wing of the United States has, but very similar. So his dialectic style of being very verbal and very dialectic with the opponent. This is exactly what I learned to do. But in the department of philosophy, I saw this comment, and this is one of the reasons why I left the academic philosophy, because I perceived that there is no point with argument. I perceived this long time ago. This is one of the reasons why I focused way more in music. Stay silent and just do the harmony. Okay, I perceived this a long time ago already in Brazil. So it doesn't matter if you study all works of Kant and Hegel and all the works about the philosophy of art. Just a few people care about the fact that you are right in some things. Okay, the majority of people, they can just read your status and your position in a network. Okay, but not for a long time. I think some things will change. So this very mediocre mindset will change. I hope people learn a little bit also more from Nietzsche's genealogy of morale, because we have a morals of the slave more and more. This affects music a lot. We hear the music of the slaves, not only the slaves politically, but the slaves from the point of view of consciousness. So things are going to change, I think. This is why still the philosophical foundation and the true idealistic aesthetic foundation of the art that you do in your composition I will not promise that it will lead to your happiness. I would be a fake guru here, but it will lead to fulfillment, and I think fulfillment is more important than happiness. Okay, sometimes you are still sad and you have still pain, but you are in your mission, you are doing your fulfillment, and people that come after you, they will enjoying your purpose after you left this life. So this is how I think. So see long term the things. Ciao ciao.